Tucker Carlson recently asked a powerful question. Is your favorite musician dragging you closer to the demonic? And honestly, that's something we all need to think about. Music isn't just entertainment anymore, it's influence, it's spirit, it's energy. A lot of these artists aren't just performing, they're preaching a message, and many times that message is dark, rebellious, and anti-God. We see symbols, lyrics, and visuals that glorify sin, pride, and even demonic imagery, and people just call it art. But when you start to look deeper, you realize it's not creativity, it's conditioning. The enemy uses sound, image, and fame to pull hearts away from God. So the question isn't just about music, it's about your spirit. Who's feeding it? Who's influencing it? Because not every beat comes from heaven. I want to play this clip of Tucker Carlson talking with producer/writer Conrad Flynn, where Flynn dives deep into Nick Land's philosophy about the occult. Check this out.
It's interesting. So here's the distinction that I make in my mind. And it's between people who are participating in occult practices and have no idea that they are.
Right.
You know, people who are, participating in abortion and don't see it, don't understand it as what it is, which is a child sacrifice ritual as old as Canaan, who are using hallucinogenic drugs, which are clearly a portal for demonic possession.
Sure. Really quick, the word witchcraft, I think in Greek it's pharmakai, I think it is. So there's always a natural link between putting yourself, they would say ecstatic states or altered states. That's always been there's a kind of lurid story behind the witch's broom in terms of what she's doing to work herself up into that state. But yeah, it's all about...
But she's doing it intentionally. I guess that's the distinction that I would make. In a secular country, a free to be you and me country, there are a lot of people who are doing things because they're fun or interesting or everyone around them is doing them and they don't understand the spiritual consequences. But then there's another category, and this is the dividing line in my head. There's a category of people who are seeking power from supernatural forces that they acknowledge are absolutely real.
Right.
And they're practicing an occult religion and they're doing it with self-awareness.
Right.
And I always felt like there weren't that many of those. But what I've learned from you, from our extensive text exchanges over the past year, is that there are actually some of those, quite a few of those.
Oh, but totally. I mean, look at it a couple ways. Among other things, Tucker, we're living through an explosion in, occult's a big, broad term.
Yes. What does it? Can we define it?
I mean, it technically means the hidden. But there's a book written by these guys that they ran in a occult bookstore in New York in the 70s. It's called Bull from Heaven or something like that. But one of their definitions, it had to do with elements of New Age philosophy and neo-pagan thinking, I think was part of their definition. But it got broadened out a bit. Occult can also just mean interest in New Age, which accounts for like 80% of Americans, whether it's astrology, whether it's the concept of manifesting, which is, the law of attraction type stuff. That stuff is huge. And as I've talked with you about, it's also huge on the right in terms of MAHA, Make America Healthy Again. These ideas that we don't think of as being too goth or too occult or too out of the mainstream have become incredibly mainstreamed over the last decades. But I mean, even going back to 19th century America, they were there, and even 18th. But since the 60s, they've exploded, but they've become so ingrained in our lives, we don't typically notice their origins.
We don't see them as a cult.
No. But we're also living through a goth explosion. I mean, I know you're not a huge, you sit in front of the TV and watch Netflix guy, but like shows like Wednesday, Stranger Things, horror is, in terms of box office, maybe not in terms of creativity, it's as big as it's ever been.
Really?
Oh yeah, Halloween. Some people half joke that Halloween will be on pace to overtake Christmas at some point, just because it's become like a year-round thing.
Halloween?
Yeah, Halloween's huge. Yeah, every year it gets bigger. So there's an element of this, Tucker, where once you
I hate to admit in public how out of it I am, but I had no idea. This is the first time.
Yeah, no, goth is huge. I mean, even singers like Billie Eilish and stuff, goth is huge
because it leads to happiness.
Yeah. Happiness. Yeah. It's a huge thing. So it's one of those things that once you alert someone to how popular something is, it's like learning a new word where you're like, I've never heard this word in my life. And for the next week, all you hear is obstreperous. You're like, wow, you're like, that guy is obstreperous. You're like, there it is again. So this stuff is huge. But the reason I, as opposed to a lot of other people, was able to really notice it is, again, I was working on this show. I know the history of rock. I know a lot of, fair amount amount about politics. I know some of the tech stuff, a little bit of art history and literature. So when people were talking, when Nick Land or whoever's talking about, I learned Kabbalah from Kenneth Grant and Aleister Crowley and stuff, that I'm like, Kenneth Grant, he's the guy that got Bauhaus and a lot of the goth guys into witchcraft and industrial music. What is Nick Land, this academic?
At the end of the day, Tucker's question isn't just about music. It's about influence, the unseen forces shaping our hearts and minds, and the choices we make about who or what we let guide us. Entertainment can be harmless fun, or it can be a doorway into darkness. So before you follow the beat, the fame, or the flashy message, ask yourself, is this drawing me closer to God or pulling me away from Him? Because every note, every lyric, every idol has the power to shape your soul. And these celebrities aren't who you think they are.